Don't adjust your set. It's Torre turning the tables to host the DR show for a moment, thanks to the graciousness of Dylan. And I want to explore where America's going and what's driving it there. And to get some answers, I'm going to one of the smartest people I know, the aforementioned Dylan Ratigan. Dylan, I want to talk about America and what's driving this country. I want to talk about what's driving us backward, what's being detrimental, and what's going to drive us forward. So what is the number one problem in America right now?
You think I have the answer to that question?
I think you have an answer.
Oh, an answer. I would believe the number one problem in this country is that what I would call alpha power, those who have a disproportionate amount of influence because of their age, gender, social position, money happens on purpose, it happens on accident, but at any society, any culture in the history of the world, the pharaohs, the Egyptians, the samurai, London, there's always some percentage of the population that has disproportionate influence. If the culture of that percentage of the population is to seek domination at all costs, which is what I believe our country has done with this culture. I'm rich, I'm powerful, get out of my way, I own this, I buy this. As long as that alpha power seeks to dominate at all costs, which I believe is the current culture in this country, I believe you will always have this exploitation, two sets of rules.
Is that natural? Is that about America right now, that we have a group of alpha men who want to control and dominate to the exclusion of other people?
I think it's a human condition. Look at the Dark Ages. Look, like I said, you can go back through the history of mankind. Alpha power almost always seeks dominance in every culture, which is why most cultures tend not to have a lot of equality, which is why America, at its concept as a government a few years ago, was a novel concept, which is, what do you say, we try to balance that distorting influence with the Constitution.
So we got a slew of problems, joblessness, partisan gridlock in
all
Washington.
symptomatic.
Right.
Bad decision making.
Right, symptomatic of alpha attempt to dominate.
Right.
What is the thing that is going to get America out of that?
If you look at history, look at in any situation, but the one I like the most is if you look at the Dark Ages and Sir Edward Mallory, who wrote King Arthur, there's two arguments. One, you can get people out of this dominant culture by either changing rules and changing money. If you do that, and that people think that that'll make everything better. The civil rights movement changed a lot of the rules on race, but it didn't ultimately change the way people treated people of different races.
Yeah.
That, along with the Russian Revolution, where they went from the oligarchs to the communists. Rich people will still work with the government to screw everybody over. So that makes me believe that it's the mythology of the culture that dictates what happens, and if the mythology of the culture seeks dominance at all costs, represents dominance at all costs, the culture is doomed. The way you fix it is to switch the mythology of that power to nobility.
So we have to get away from trying to be alpha men and get into more serving our community.
No, because that suggests that there's a diminishment to your alpha state, if you will, or alpha. It's not just alpha men, alpha women. It's not a gender thing. The point is, alpha power exists in every culture of every society ever in the history of the world. Doesn't matter. And the cultures where alpha power is expected to serve, John Kennedy represented.
That's going to do better.
Well, all those cultures will do better. Any culture where alpha power seeks to dominate at all costs, those cultures will fail. And we are trending in the wrong direction.
Well, one thing that's happening is a gender flip, that more women are becoming heads of households, making more money, having more education.
Wielding more alpha power.
And, yeah, but they tend to wield alpha power differently in a less of an attempt to dominate society the way that men do. So in a society where women are gaining economic power, class power, social power, are we still going to have that same alpha problem of alpha trying to dominate everything?
I have no idea. My answer is
alpha trying to share?
I would say I have no idea. I would argue that the gender is irrelevant. That the only thing that matters for whether alpha power dominates or is noble is the awareness of the individual. So if you have contracted awareness, Deepak was here the other day talking about this. If you have contracted awareness, you're in a fear state, I don't want to lose my stuff, don't touch my stuff, then you're going to get dominating behavior in response for that. If you have expanded awareness, which is that we have all these new answers, all these new relationships, all these other people who I haven't even met, who know things I don't know, who can do things I don't know how to do, that would teach me how to do those things, that my relationship with the community, when I have more of an expanded awareness, is vastly more productive, vastly more healthy. And I actually think that there are an increasingly large number of people on the planet Earth who are more aware, have a more expanded awareness, and I believe that that will continue over the next 100 years because we just know more. We just know more because we can learn more.
The contracted awareness versus expanded awareness is your main thesis here.
That's the switch.
Being selfish and it's all about me and I have to protect me and my stuff is the most important, is the most detrimental thing.
Yes.
And being a servant of the community.
Or being noble. I wouldn't say, sir, I'm not suggesting that you want to submit. I'm not trying to
but using your power to help other people rather than to accumulate power.
The question, if the question of the powerful is how can I help? And they do that with enough humility to listen as opposed to deciding ahead of time, you need food, you need to school, you need this. I don't know what you need, but I know that I might be able to help you. What do you need? And then if you listen, and you engage the internet, and you engage not just the internet, but networking in general, high visibility, high integrity networks with the confidence to ask how to help and with the caution to not be too arrogant about it, I think that's the whole country.
But as we've talked about, the lack of civility in the country is making it hard to have that expanded awareness. Let me do one more thing. One more thing. We're going to throw it to Chris Matthews. Hardball is up right now.